So, a very quick video update. I have updated now from the Arduino Uno board, which is right here. Well, I got a prototype and expansion. I don't remember what they call those things, but expansion board on top of it that moved it over to that. Well, I got rid of that and went to the Arduino Mega board, which I should have done so long ago, because on that old board, the size of the program just for data logging and saving it to the SD card was taking up half of its memory. It's 7% on this with the MSCAN module now. So big change in memory on the board. And it has a much faster processor, so it can even record the data logs quicker. I've got it working right now with my old data logger setup, and then as you saw, I added the MSCAN network to it. Right now, it initializes the CAN function, at least initializes to the board. Right now, I'm going to start working on the code, so that way I'm going to use the 11-bit broadcast messages from MSCAN, from the microsquirts and microsquirts. And with the latest firmware, which I think is like 3.42 or something on them, they can do 11-bit broadcasting for like pretty much for like your race pack dashes and whatnot. Well, I'm going to use those broadcast messages. I'm going to receive them into that MSCAN network, where it's a little blue thing right there for the wires coming into it, and receive the RPM data and the airfill ratio, coolant temp, all that kind of stuff, and have it switchably, turn on and off the data log like you saw in my last video, and save all the data onto the SD card. That is the goal for right now. That's my next thing up, because I need to figure out how that works for my next project. Once I get that going, I've got to figure out an RPM input, which I'm still working on, for like the guys that have HEI ignition or points or MSD or whatever else. So that way you guys with carburetors or whatever can have onboard data logging with this setup, either with the Mega or with the Uno. Once that's done, I'm going to start in on working on a transmission control module, which I already leaked on my last update. I have been working on all the switches and stuff to get all the inputs into the Mega. From like a 4L80E. I'm still figuring out the speed input. Once I get that figured out, I can start in on coding, which actually is going to be surprisingly simple. The worst part's going to be coding the speedometer shift tables. But once that's done, as I said, I'm working once the MSCAN stuff is figured out, because I'll need the MSCAN stuff to get like my throttle position, my RPM. That should be everything. And then I can make that Mega shift to 4L80E. Because after that's done, and this has already been done, my next idea, but I want to implement it a little differently. People have been making boost leashes with the Arduino Mega and Uno boards for like controllable boost levels and whatnot, using the Arduino with onboard air, either CO2 or what I'm going to do is have a little air compressor and reserve tank on board. And then with the Arduino Mega transmission control module going over their communication networks, either CAN bus or whatever I decide, I can have boost by gear and all kinds of weird crap. So like first gear, I can keep the boost down, and then once I hit second gear, ramp the boost in. Have like a scramble boost button that I hit that button and it commands like say 5 or 10 more pounds of boost or whatever I want to, and go from there. So those are the upcoming projects with the Arduino Mega stuff that I plan on making. As I have said before, I don't really intend on releasing the code right away because I'm still figuring all this out. I don't want you guys hurting your crap on stuff I'm still figuring out. But once I get everything working, I do plan on, if there's a call for it, building and selling the data loggers and probably the standalone transmission control modules. And those will work with either a carburetor or an aftermarket computer of some sort. And its plans are to be a standalone. So if you're on a carburetor, you'll have to add a throttle position sensor to your carburetor. Now it should be the only input you'll need. And on stuff with MS, like Mega Squirt, Micro Squirt, whatever, you can CAN bus it to this. And I plan on having it completely adjustable and tunable in Tuner Studio, because the Speeduino stuff is using the Mega board and Tuner Studio to do all the tuning. Plan on doing the same thing with the Mega. Plan on being able to you'll hook a USB, which is already on board, to your computer, open up Tuner Studio, go in, change however you want it to shift, and go from there. And the shifting, I'm going to have a bunch of different options for it. Also, it'll have an input for Matt Happels from Sloppy Mechanics. He figured out the third gear spool mod, where you, with a factory 411, you hit a button that activates a relay that switches the power from the first gear solenoid to the third gear solenoid to actuate third gear. And then when you release the button, it power downshifts to first, but while it's in third gear, while you're foot braking, it allows you to build boost, because you have much less mechanical advantage over the brakes in third gear than you do in first. Anyway, long story short, this is going to have native support for that. You hit a button, it's going to do it automatically. I also plan on having paddle shift with this of some sort, button shift, paddle shift, whatever. And it will have switchable transmission tunes. So it's either going to be hit a button or flip a toggle switch. I haven't decided yet, but one of the two. Like if you have a street running tune in it, you flip a toggle switch and make it act like the whole air shifting setup that people run at drag strips, where it hits a certain RPM limit and then shifts into another gear, doesn't care about mile an hour. All stuff like that's going to be native support or supported on this Mega board. Pretty much all the features I've always wanted to see in a transmission control module and I've never gotten, I'm doing it because I'm tired of people not doing what I want. So, but anyway, that is what's going on with my builds right now. I'm also working on Myra Milken's truck. We just got it done. Oh, not done, but we got it running. We're getting ready to tune it now with the Micro Squirt. He might be run something like this possibly. I'd probably use his truck in my car for R&D purposes, because he has a Micro Squirt and I have an MS2, which will be good for comparing, making sure it works on the Micro Squirt, because I know this is going to be more towards the Micro Squirt guys and the carburetor guys, because like MS3 has onboard data logging, so you don't need a standalone. But MS2 doesn't. Micro Squirt doesn't, MS1 doesn't, which MS1 I don't think you can make work on CAN bus, so it'd probably be no support for that. But MS2 and Micro, this would be awesome for those guys, so that way they can stay with a cheaper computer and have onboard data logging, and I don't plan on this being very much. The parts are cheap, obviously I'll put a little bit of a labor charge on there, but I don't expect this whole deal for like the data logger setup to cost very much at all. Obviously, once I get farther down the line, get this an actual packaging and out of the whole prototyping board and wire it up and, on the circuit board and all the inputs and outputs, set up and whatnot, I'll have more details to come, obviously. But that's the plans and that's what's going on right now. So, thanks for watching.